Dabu 7. And this is Underground World News Live, January 13th, Friday the 13th, 2017. I want to welcome everybody to the show. Got a lot to talk about here tonight. We were all just discussing, all types of stuff going on here. And, we were just, talking about the upcoming inauguration, everything with Trump, the statements. We've got a slew of stuff to go over here. Let some folks gather in here. Welcome all those already here. Shout outs to all the folks that take the time to hang with us on a Friday night. It's appreciated. Everyone that takes the time to listen afterward and actually share my information. I love you all for that. I thank you for fighting the fight. We're truly in this together. It's going to take all of us on a daily basis to get the truth out there because we're being heavily censored. All of us are, all of our channels. That's why I say when you subscribe, hit the gear button next to subscribe and check that you want to get notifications via email or whatever else to make sure you're getting the information we're putting out there because it's an uphill battle we're always going to face. And most of you out there, if you have Facebook, you might have had glitches today. I was having issues too. I know when I was saying that, Eric and them, you didn't have any issues, did you, Eric?
I was able to get into Facebook, but I couldn't see anything.
Honestly, you did have some issues.
I just was able to see the bar, and that was it, just the blue bar.
Yeah, and I know that they said that was global. I don't know to what degree, what all happened there. I just know that it was a big outage. It was affecting my page specifically. But go to Down Detector if you guys got any issues. If you think something's down or out, Detector. Now, if you're someone that's going to be up here for this inauguration, I've got a link in here as well. They're saying that cell phone carriers are bracing for massive data usage during the inauguration. So this is going to be something that's going to affect a lot of people, people that are trying to use their phones to live stream like us. And we've seen in the middle of large crowds, it can be choppy. There's really nothing you can do but try to have a backup plan or a backup plan to that and just keep on trucking. It's something out there that we got to be prepared for. We are. In worst case scenario, there's hard footage that can be uploaded and posted quickly, smaller clips. So I would say this much, if people are having difficulty seeing live streams, now the mainstream is not going to have that problem, but all the other independent guys out there trying to hold down the stream, they may face an issue up here, especially with all the electronics, all the people, all that. And there's only so much you can take into so many areas too. Like if you're going into one of these ticketed areas, you can't even take a selfie stick. Okay. And as me and Eric seen up there last time we were in DC, you can't even drop your tripod on the ground around that Capitol building. There's dudes with big guns come running up on you like, And some of them are pricks. Luckily, one was cool enough to explain the whole thing to us. And that was needed. Just to educate the people. But up there, me and Eric also got zapped, and they stripped their phones down. Eric's down to nothing but what was on the SIM card. Glitched mine totally out. Off while I was live. They did it and drained the battery completely down to nothing. Full battery. One of the bigger ones. How do you explain it? Well, the Devil's Playground's DC. And they've got technology netted up all over the place, and they're going to, for this event, no doubt, they're going to have checkpoints. There's going to be checkpoints in certain areas that you're going to have to go into just to get down by the parade. There's going to be a lot of people up here. Eric, didn't you update and say that those initially we put out 200,000 protesters are said to be up here for this event? Didn't you say that they swelled that up to like 750?
The senator that's in charge of the inauguration committee, whatever the thing is called, was saying that he's expecting up to 750,000 demonstrators.
There you guys go. Now that's 750,000 people right there. This thing is pushing upwards of 2 million, 1.5, 2 million up here in DC. Like I said, you can expect to see the action from Union Station. up to the circle, down to the White House, down to the Lincoln Memorial, across the mall to the Capitol, and then right there back up to Union Station. It's pretty much that big area that's going to be packed full of people and a big cage. There's going to be cages within cages like they seen up at the DNC.
It's going to be a battle royal with a steel cage match.
Yeah. Let's hope not. And Lee made a good point earlier in a discussion in the chat that, once you're inside one of these things, you have to have a plan as a team. We will fully to make sure that if something happens, we can get out of there safely. But what do you do when you're inside of cages like that and something does happen? Someone starts mowing people down on the mall lawn or something crazy like that. And you better be able to scale a fence. And chances are, if you're doing that, who knows what happens? People see you doing that. I mean,
yeah, Casey just made a good point with that. Just think of it as a steel cage. If worse comes to worse, climb that thing.
Right. But
hit him with the folding chair.
That's what I said earlier. If they were saying they're putting up chairs all over the place, I was like, I'd be snatching up 3 or 4 of them chairs, throwing them over my back and running away from it. You know what I'm saying? Have some kind of protection till I get out of there. But that's the worst case scenario. But to be honest with you, you have to plan for things like that. You have to plan for it, especially in a climate like this. You have to have a plan for all possibilities. And hopefully this thing goes down without a hitch. Hell, we had Rosie O'Donnell coming out asking for martial law. Put a video out on that. Yeah, take away all your freedoms. Troops in the street.
What an idiot.
I know.
It's like, does she not realize that she's part of that? Like, martial law, it means everybody, not just, or is she just talking to the peasants?
I think with some of she's like a B-list actor or whatever. I think some of those people have a mentality that they're special and they live in their own little worlds as it is, like Kardashians and all this other stuff they show. And the time they spend doing things, they don't spend time doing like what we're doing, researching and all this other stuff. They're out doing this goon crap and this occult crap they've got them all tied up doing. And that's a lot of it. This establishment holds reign over a lot of these major players. That's why you saw the Clintons pulling Beyonce and Jay-Z and all them out the woodwork. Like, bowed out, come on, and we allowed you to be famous, and it's time for you to pay your dues. For the establishment, they didn't have no qualms. They didn't want to come out there and call out Hillary for any of her atrocities like they should have. They wouldn't dare do that. You see, but
when they do, they end up in a hospital chained to a bed.
Yeah,
and then you never hear from some of them again.
And I have links for everything we're going to talk about below. I even got some links. I mean, kind of go with the flow here tonight. I'll try to touch on everything, but sometimes we miss a few things, and plenty of links down in the description box below. But in terms of Trump and this whole thing, I put out a video on 777. You guys may have missed, and this is people were emailing me, hitting me up like, what do you think about this? Trump basically coming out and saying that Russia was behind this hack now. After all this, and that Putin shouldn't have done it, was his statement. That he don't think Putin will do it anymore after the 20th. And then he went on to state that he said odds are they won't get along. He'd like to get along with Putin, but odds are they won't, is the way that all this twisted. And this happened
really quickly.
Well, it changed very quick. And see, I warned about this in the Mad Dog video, which some people didn't want to hear. And I'm sitting there telling you, look, this man's sitting there telling you that the focus is Russia, China, and ISIS. At the exact same time, Donald Trump's telling the whole world on national television that the Obama administration is the ones that created ISIS. Go Google it. Loud and clear. Now, I want to remind you, these are the same individuals cutting people's heads off that he just said they created. And if that's the case, he didn't mention Saudi Arabia, he didn't mention Mossad or any of this other stuff. But if that's the case, they're criminals. Do you think they're going to see a day in jail? Hell no. Obama's going to be riding with him in the Beast through the parade to the White House. That's right, the Beast. Okay, so my thing is this. How can Mattis come out and say the enemy is ISIS and all this other stuff when the president-elect Trump just sat there and told you that Obama created it. If that's the case, then the funding should be cut to ISIS day one. Put your money where your mouth is, Mr. Billion-Dollar Man DiBiase. That's what I'm going to say come the 20th. I can't wait for the day to come so he can either do these big things or he can be held accountable. It's about accountability, people. That's what it's about. A lot of people can put on a suit and tie and talk a good game. And they do a damn good job of brainwashing you through the mainstream television. But end of the day, like I've said before, I'm not going to rule out that any man out there doesn't have it in his heart to make change, because somebody's going to have to do something. We're going to have good men and women throughout the ranks of the FBI, CIA, our military. If there ever was to be some kind of revolutionary change in this country that's righteous for the good and not for the bad, the same old crap. You know, JFK was a part of the Illuminati bloodline. What did he do? He came out, he warned the people. He was from that tribe, but he still had it in his heart. He did pay the ultimate price. They assassinated him for it, and it's something one
took
would
out
have
his whole damn family.
But look at it. He had it. He came from the bloodline, so it shows you it's possible that from that it can spring up. It can enter someone's heart, someone's mind, and JFK proved that, and he warned of this exact same cabal system we are dealing with right now.
So, what do you think then, D, of the resurrection of the Kennedy blood then, with Trump putting Robbie Jr. in charge of this vaccine commission? I mean, that would be something.
It's interesting. I was looking into, and I've got a link actually to that where you guys can watch Robbie talking. And for people that are probably going to ask, is there something wrong with him or this? And he does have Parkinson's, and he does have a disease with his throat, both. So if people are wondering, that's with now, and I'm not sure how much time, this guy's got, on his clock. To be honest with you, it's you watch some video footage of him, he's very shaky, he's very frail, and he doesn't look to be in very good condition at all. Right. And it's almost like, what? We'll see what comes of it, but I was listening, he was talking about the mercury and things, the mercury in fish across the country, and then started getting into the vaccines. Now, look, if we're going to have somebody in there that wants to start exposing the truth about vaccines, that's great. There were nurses chiming in at the bottom, nurses that have been nurses for 23 years that had seen it all. And we're just like, look, I've got kids that basically grew up that are now in adult diapers because of vaccines. And we've seen the atrocities and what they'll do. And it's about time somebody steps up and starts to expose it and put it out there. But it's interesting because remember the story you were talking about the other day?
This week, dude. This week, that guy is the COO of the Cleveland Clinic, brother. The COO. You don't get up there by being a pushover doctor. That dude worked his way to the top of the Cleveland Clinic, one of the most prestigious hospitals in the world, and then they publicly shamed him because he put forth factual data on paper in an op-ed article. He put that out there for the world to see, and then he didn't even get to release his own statement afterwards. The Cleveland Clinic put out a statement on his behalf saying that he fully supports vaccinations and only intended to open up a topic of discussion on what you're putting into your body. But if you read through what this dude wrote, he talked about the vaccines with the adjuvants and the aluminums and the mercuries and he went into detail.
That's what needs to be talked about, and they don't want to see. And also, this brings up Trump saying he's going to go after big pharma and all this stuff now.
Right.
It's going to be interesting to see how things change, like the whole thing with the EpiPen and the now CBS and these other ones are coming out with a rival to it. It's almost like some of these industries, they stay chained up, almost like energy was electric across the country for the longest time. And here, many people don't know this. Within the past 5-7 years, they started to deregulate power, energy, where people could come through and buy up chunks of energy. And I know people that were I know people to this day that are still working doing this. And to me, it's a righteous job because these individuals, they are selling stuff, but what they're doing is they're saving you money. And it's them through their companies being able, through the deregulation of energy, to go in and buy power in bulk off the energy grid and get it at a set price, and to set a cheap price, cheaper than what Duke Energy and all these others are charging, a lower price for years to come, and lock it in. And then those people make a residual off of every person that they sign up. So you go around saving people money all day long. You're locking in residual income for the next 2-3 years. It's helping people and it's making money. But that's just one instance. And when you have big pharma or someone that's crushing the medical industry, and they control everything, the cost of everything, what's happening here and there, and what they regulate, all this stuff. If that can get busted open into different sectors where people can shop for medicine cheaper through different countries easily, and all this other stuff, then things can change. But we'll see. There has to be more talk about the vaccines for sure, because I know people on the West Coast have been screaming that they're suffering, doing it in New York. They start on both coasts with vaccines and gun grabs.
Yeah. And now Florida too with the gun grabs.
Yep. And now Florida too. Yeah. It's we'll see how things change here. And Trump brings about a whole new feel. Obviously, he will be our next president here in this country. He said a lot of things at this point, and it's in my opinion, this man, and after 4 years, he'll be known as either the man that endured a lot of attacks here in this country, because I think anyone that's truly going to go against the grain, there's going to be some kind of events that pop off, repercussions. In the waning death blows of control, because the powers that be aren't going to go down without a fight. That's for damn sure. They've been at this, running both sides of wars for a long time. Rothschilds funded both sides of the war. Brothers split up, controlled both sides of the war. I mean, the whole nine. Money with Hitler, cut a deal with Hitler.
Look at Soros.
Yeah,
he starts wars.
There you go. And there's the modern day, money man with Soros, his buddies that have been influencing this whole thing. And what Trump come out the other day and said that. He said it, he goes, Soros is responsible. He's part of a global power structure that has robbed the working class of America. So he's making factual statements in those senses.
He stands alone in those statements.
Right.
Even the people he's appointing are not backing him up.
Those kind of statements are the only things that gives him any validity in my mind, any substance for anyone that's truly awake.
Right.
Because you have to be talking something real, and you have to put your money where your mouth is. You see, it's that time. And come the 20th, all these things have to change. And I'm sorry, but this is a man that ran his whole campaign as Hillary for prison, for crying out loud. And I watched so many channels ride the coattails of Trump to make all this clickbait money and get all these subscribers and push a bunch of bullshit. And they're not going to call him out. I know a lot of people made a ton of money off of Hillary for prison t-shirts. And is she going to jail? Where are all these people now? Come the 20th, I'll just go ahead and wait, because that's what they're going to say. Come the 20th, that's what I'm going to be asking. Where you cats at? Where are all you cats at? Saying Hillary for prison? You better keep bringing it until he does it, because you're going to see the crowds, they're going to grow larger and larger. Hillary for prison. And then when it doesn't happen, then what? 4 years later, it ain't happened. Then what? He's about to ride in the beast with Obama and Bill to the White House.
And whoever else might join him. Even old Bushy might even jump in the wagon.
And if you've got the two Bushes in there, you got the Bush-Clinton cartel in there with him. The whole...
That would not be
the only problem is you got a history here. You have a history of publicly hating this fool. So either this has been a plan as it was written, you could say, as it was written, because these guys have been publicly hating on each other for years in the past. Years, man. Look back at those White House Correspondents' Dinners, 2012, 2011, where they make a mockery of the Trump table.
Yeah, but I also look back and I see how Clintons came to Trump wanting him to run.
Yeah, they like that money too.
I look at the bigger picture here, but you see, with him making these statements that the Obama administration is responsible for ISIS, how can you ride in the same vehicle with him to the White House? That is criminal. These are people cutting people's heads off across the globe right now. He just said Obama was responsible for it. Does anyone else
I would
not
walk.
see what I'm saying? I mean,
he should just walk and say goodbye. I mean, not only does Obama fund the guys chopping heads off, that man, I don't know, did you watch the video, that the re-released video, the Chelsea Bradley Manning video that he released about the collateral damage, where they targeted two people and ended up killing like 15 and a couple kids when they came to clean up the bodies, and they just kept on shooting from the planes. And they're sitting there, the pilots of the planes are like, give us authority. Can I just shoot this damn gun? Or, they couldn't wait to blow these dudes away. That's what Chelsea Manning's in jail for. And, that's Obama's been targeting people by their SIM cards for years.
Well, they were hitting people with drone strikes.
Yeah.
Over in Afghanistan.
Well, that's what I'm saying. A drone strike on a SIM card. They never even gave a shit if a person was around. They would blow up 150 people inside of a building, and it didn't matter what the building was, or the address, or anything about it. All that mattered.
Wedding, it didn't matter.
Was the SIM card was present, and they had intel that SIM card belonged to a person of interest, so they killed everybody.
Everybody.
Collateral damage is what they call it.
I want all of you to remember that. Any of you that live through the next 10, 15, 20 years, you remember that.
And who approves things like that? Obama. He's the commander-in-chief. You don't drop bombs out of space on a church or a wedding or a funeral on a SIM card and kill 150 people without him saying yes.
They've got too much data and too much technology. They could find out almost every damn person that's inside that building.
Right.
And there was way more phones in there, way more SIM cards, way more information. They could have calculated a lot more, and they could have actually zoned in. They could have done we've seen it time and time again, but I have a story in here as well about another treasonous individual, in my opinion, John McCain. Here, they're saying he was dispatched. He dispatched a trusted aide across the Atlantic to get this dirty dozier from an ex-spy with MI6, and they say they never gave him the files, but told him the file existed, and this is where all this information came from. And John McCain having to step up and say that he was responsible.
Yeah. Did anybody read through that dossier, or however you want to pronounce it? I pronounce it dossier. Did anybody read through that and see anything interesting? The misspelled words of key things like Alpha Group. They spelled Alpha Group like ALFA or some crap. It's like they spelt it. It was the whole thing. You just read through it. Right when it was released, me and you were talking, weren't we? I'm like, look at this thing. They got words misspelled, entire names capitalized. It was the most ridiculous looking thing I've ever seen.
Talking about the one that had all the capitalized last names?
Yeah, all the last names were capitalized, but then when they were pointing out groups, like they were incriminating the Alpha Group and the firm that attorney allegedly worked for, and they were spelled wrong. The names of the actual companies were spelled differently than the report had them written out there. And that was interesting to me. I know other people took notice too. I had seen it floating around.
Did you just sent me a link here recently about Chinese state media telling Trump's team to prepare for military clash? This is as Eric was explaining, he said that this was put out by the tabloid, but the tabloid is state run, so it's basically a shot across the bow in the open, stating this. So you got to take it with a grain of salt, take it for what it is. But the statement's been made, and
they accused the new Secretary of State of rabble rousing during his hearing, his approval hearing.
Well, we'll see what comes of that. We'll definitely. These have been some of my biggest questions. How is the Trump administration going to handle these world stages, these theaters of war? Everything, the mess that has happened in Libya, it's still a mess. Everything that happened there, then Iraq, a mess. Afghanistan, everything that's going on in Syria.
Up. Afghanistan's heating up again because of the heroin. My God.
That's all that it's ever been about is drug control. It's all been about the poppy fields, for the most part, and it's a massive amount of it. Massive.
Now they can't keep their civilization that farms those poppies sober. They're jacked up, dude. They don't even have people to run to handle the crop because they're all just jacked up.
And it's sad, you know.
It's sad to watch these videos.
It's sad how something like that can affect the people around. But I mean, it's all about. I mean, there has to be. I know people farm that for years, and there has to be a mentality of not being addicted to something and not overdoing it. And it's the same as you can drink, but you can't become an alcoholic. Have a drink or two. You know, don't abuse things.
And for people that don't know, the reason why we're over in Afghanistan is because of the poppy fields. Poppy is the main derivative of all opiate medications.
For all the pills, everything. All the
opiates, you look at the
word, the heroin.
Exactly. When you look at the word opiate, the root word means knowledge or to see, or the serpent, ophia. It's the Greek. So when you look at the word opiate or fallopian, all of that means something.
What would be the difference, Casey, in that respect that you just said, the difference between the two types? Because we do have a common misconception that opiates and opioids are the same, where like a Vicodin is an opiate, but a Percocet is an opioid, or, you know, fentanyl and carfentanil is an opiate. But
it's and also how they cut it. It's all how they cut out the base product, and they can cut it out and put aspirin and Tylenol in the stuff, or they can take all that out and make it a stronger dose with a smaller amount of anything else.
Right. The oid is fully synthetic, where the opiate is natural. The opioid is fully synthetic.
Right.
Exactly. Based off of the same chemical structure, but synthetic, as you said.
Right.
And you have receptors for all that in your brain, just like you do for anything out there.
But it's to keep the people asleep, and they need us medicated. And that's why they put all these people on pain medications, and they don't mind that they're all addicted, because it creates dependency. And then the people that are dependent are more easily controlled.
And I feel like the heroin attack was just that, an attack on our people.
Absolutely.
So many solid young bucks that I knew growing up that are dead and gone. Guys that you would never thought back in the day that would ever have done that or tried it or this and that. And next thing you know, you ain't seen them in 10 years here, they're dead. And
that's how heroin changed.
All the time. It's all the time. How'd they die? What do you think now? It's here. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This person, that person. It's just.
You think of the 90s, heroin was a blue collar drug because everybody could take it, and they can be high as a kite and maintain composure. They can serve your tables, they can wash your cars, they can be your judges, and be high as a kite on heroin. But I think once they started introducing the synthetics to it, it was overbearing even for the human body. So the human body is designed to maintain a natural drug.
It went through the whole Oxycontin stage. That's what really pushed everything.
That's synthetic.
The phase, exactly. The whole phase of the OC and the Oxycontin thing there for a while, that they came through and stormed through the whole scene. That's what, and then next thing you know, that flipped over to trending into the whole heroin epidemic that has exploded, which is sad and unfortunate. But it's reality, and it's coming from the same hands out there that are pushing all this stuff. You see, if the gangsters only knew, some of these gang members in the streets only knew, they're fighting over, you know, in my mind, petty things. If they can see the bigger enemy and see that they're being played out, there's a bigger picture. Go higher, you know, because it's not worth. It's another divide and conquer tactic, and that's what they do in the streets. How do you think all the drugs get here? They bring them in through the alphabet gangs. They supply them to the drug lords and break it down, and they send it out. And it happens like that everywhere across the globe.
If they wanted them gone, they would have napalmed them fields long ago.
Exactly.
They know where they're growing. They know where that's growing.
You know, you're talking about workers taking. It makes me think of like the Mexicans that were with the cocaine and everything. They would chew on the cocoa leaves, but you weren't seeing an epidemic there. It's not like they were making cocaine and they were just getting the natural. There was the difference, turning it to synthetic drug and then taking the natural cocoa leaves and just chewing on them and getting a natural little pep for your day. And they would just chew on them throughout the day. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference there between that. Like another example, in the way that they're breaking these things down. With science these days, these crazy drugs, like you said, synthetic drugs, designer drugs. There was the fake whole pot thing that's going on too. People dying with that. What they wanted to call potpourri or whatever it is,
incense and bath salts
and all that, in selling at the stores and all this crap. It's that shit's deadly. It's nothing to be messing with. It's nothing.
Get whacked.
But it's out there, and it's just another thing you have to keep your eyes peeled for, man. And be aware of.
Especially if you got kids growing up, man. My kid's almost a teenager, dude, and I'm like, man, what's this? What, how do you do that without just basically going all crazy and chaining them up? Like, I'm gonna lock them up and hopefully
what you do is you go find you a video of someone that just spazzed out, damn near died or something right there in video on smoking the shit, and be like, watch this. So you can watch this a couple times. Then we go smoke the shit.
Yeah, real life. I mean, real life definitely has a surreal feeling than see somebody that took a little too much, took a bigger pull and nodded out on TV. Real life, when you see a dead person in real life, I don't know how many people have seen dead people, but it don't look the same. It changes you. It changes you forever. It changes how you look at people when you see for real. I'm not talking about in a casket because those people look like wax.
No, when you see a body lose life.
Yeah, when you see a body lose life. Yeah. It's definitely it changes the way you look at things, But you know what? These synthetic drugs, the carfentanil and the stuff that's going in the heroin, that's a mix. That's coming from China, where the heroin's coming, or the opiates are coming from Afghanistan, and they're meeting in the middle.
Well, they've been running drugs out of Burma for the longest time. Like back since Bush Senior. You get CIA operatives out there that have been on tape and everything else admitting with what they've done, running all the drugs. So they got it. Yeah, and all that. Yeah, during the whole era, and that's how it happened. And man,
I mean, they burned the files of the soldiers in Vietnam that were hot. They wouldn't let them come back if they had.
They burned a lot of files when that Building 7 dropped, but the plane didn't hit it.
Right, probably had a lot of them Vietnam files in there. Those soldiers that got hooked on drugs in Vietnam, if they couldn't provide a solid, clean urinalysis or whatever test they did for heroin before they left, they were not allowed to leave, and they torched any existence that they were in the military, and they left them all there. Anybody that was high on heroin or on heroin in Vietnam wasn't allowed to come home, and then they just torched the files. That's bad news. How many did they do that about our the young men that got sent to Afghanistan fresh out of high school, 17 years old, and daddy signed a paper so he can join the army to go be an airborne ranger, and they dropped his ass in the middle of a poppy field in Afghanistan. The first thing he did was get a little doozy and said, I like this job.
Sleep, my darling, sleep.
Right, yeah. It don't snow in Afghan. You don't have to worry about that going away.
It's exactly what it reminds me of too when they go to the field in Wizard of Oz. It's just how you say that. For those of you that missed it, I put out a video on executive orders, and it's important you guys should check it out because Obama just popped off 4 more in 24 hours. It's almost unprecedented. The only time he's put out so many before that I could track back when looking through was years ago, and they were all dealing with an order of secession. They were all similar, just issued to a different agency. But in terms of being completely different, executive orders, it pretty much was unprecedented because they were all different, talking about different things, all within 24 hours. And, it's he's making moves here before he exits. I told everybody.
I was trying to investigate into one of those companies. He gave immunities and special privileges and immunities to this World Animal Health Organization. And I was trying to look through, dude, that is a massive organization, totally international. It's got a full board, president, vice president, and a committee, but they write policy. And that was the scary part reading through that, is that they write policy and they publish massive animal health policy for the entire world, not just in specific regions. It's the entire world, marine health, jungle animals. So when I seen that book that looked to be about 5,000 pages thick, I'm like, great. So what, are we going to start having more turtle problems here in America based on the immunities of this company, from South Africa?
Taking over more land or whatever, like Obama's
right. Matter.
What's that?
# Turtle Lives Matter.
Yeah, turtle lives matter, except for when they, get in my way. You ever hit a turtle shell driving down the street?
St. Mario Brothers. This one I missed when talking about all this stuff. It's kind of an important one when it comes to this inauguration. And this is a big thing that's going down here. And we're less than a week away. This time next week, I don't know. Where will Underground World News Live be? And from where? I guess that's all yet to be seen, but we will be supplying massive action. I can guarantee you that footage of this event. And like I said, for anyone that is seeing difficulties with live streams, I know the best thing that I could think of to be done is to put out hard footage, small clips, get small clips of action, and then when you get a chance to stop, get it uploaded and out with a connection versus trying to fight through a cell phone to hold down a solid stream. It still may take some time to even get those uploads up and out, but it's better than nothing or a whole trip of choppiness crap. And that's something we can't control. We can't control it. We all got different game plans like we always do. We're going to split up. We're going to weave through do our thing. And we just got, I have all hands on deck for this one and just go with the flow. A lot of interesting characters going to be up here for this one. A lot of people, a lot of security, a lot of protesters. And it's, like I said, virtually one big area from the Capitol to Union Station, up and over to the White House, back down to Lincoln Memorial, and right there in the whole lawn. So it's going to be pretty packed event. Now, weather, keeping an eye on it. I don't know how that's going to play out yet. So far, it looks like partly cloudy for that day sticking. The day before the 19th, partly rain. We'll see what goes down. But rain hasn't stopped us before. Hell, the first time we met was in the streets of Philly, pouring down rain.
Right.
we all powwowed out together there and
run around with umbrellas and ponchos, man.
We saw Biggs up there on that trip in the flesh. I never forget that. Was the
Couldn't
first
find
time.
the time if your life depended on it.
It was that trip was we watched all those people get bussed in and coming in with their backpacks and all that, and then it started raining and it made things difficult. And just on a whim.
What about the thunder snow though, bro?
Well, we were able to get out in front of the parade was what was key there. And I was able to film from the back of the truck. And some people ask when they see that footage, like, is that green screen? Is that fake? How did you do that? And I'm like, no, I was in the back of a truck and we were there, like, a green screen. What the, like,
hey, that was slick though, how we pulled that off, dude.
It was nice. I mean, it was going. It's running. You know, it's go. And that trip, I mean, there's some of these trips that go by in a blink of an eye, just that quick. But that trip, we did a lot quickly for what we could, and it was beautiful how we could get out in front of the parade and do all that. We won't be able to do that in DC, obviously, but who knows? There's word of all kinds of characters going to be up here. The parade will be shortened, I'll say that, from 3 hours down to an hour and a half. Did talk about Trump maybe walking around a little bit during it. We saw a site selling tickets to the bleachered seats or these other seats along the route, and we were questioning it earlier if it was a freaking ripoff or whatever, but there's a site there with all this stuff. All I'm saying is they're opening the gates down there at 6:30 for people that want to get into these areas. Once they're full, they're sealing them off, period. So if you want to get down to any of these areas close to it, you're going to have to get in early if you want to be in that position. It's going to be a lot of people. No traveling via car, no bikes. When you get into these ticketed areas, there's going to be no selfie sticks, no tripods around the Capitol or any other
no balls
areas they've got marked off. And, you know, it's going to be crazy. All I can say is 19th and 20th, the evening of the 19th and the first half, pretty much all day of the 20th, it's just going to be nonstop action. Who knows?
Did you happen to see the performers that finally signed up, the official list of performers?
I seen something trending on Twitter earlier about 3 Doors Down. I looked into the thing and read it for a second, and yeah, I see another article.
It's 3 Doors Down, Toby Keith, and some dude that I never heard of before. Now, makes you wonder. You got to tell me that the entertainment world dislikes this man so much that nobody even wants to come and perform for people at Inauguration, that you gotta go find washed up dude. I mean, Toby Keith had his heyday during 9/11 with the whole fist up your ass stuff. We're now, 17 years later, Toby Keith is going to get up on stage and what's he going to sing about? A solo cup? I mean,
where
are we at with that? This is what we got. This is what they're putting out there. It makes you wonder why nobody else wants to be out there.
You also have to remember too that a lot of these performers want money. It's kind of a free event.
They got money.
Well, if for those that want to attend this, I will let you know that it's pretty crazy in trying to get tickets into any of this stuff, and we've all the different avenues we've been trying to go down, applying for all types of different stuff. I know other people out there have been too, and other people are attending balls that are going to be going down. The Deplora ball is going to be a big one. I think they axed Malik Obama, or he ain't going now. Now they're replacing him with, I think you said Alex Jones. There's other balls that are going down around town too. And what's interesting is certain groups are planning on crashing them. So there's going to be direct conflict right there at those venues. It's wherever these venues are at, wherever they're holding, because there's going to be several. I've got a list of a couple here, but I know some are definitely getting targeted because they've already called them out and said they're going to be there. So they're going to be sitting there trying to protest them outside of the press club. Who knows what's going to happen there? As people are coming in, going, how long that's going to happen. Like I said, there's other balls, other events they're going to be trying to disrupt.
Right. I know the Bikers for Trump are having a big veterans ball. It's supposed to be almost all military, and they have performers. Their tickets were a little, around $200 or whatnot, but that's supposed to be big. Then you got the gay ball that's also down there that is supposed to be pretty massive. The Gays for Trump.
I'm not looking to get into any of these ball events myself.
You want to go to the gay ball?
If you can get somebody into one of the balls, and they can get up in there and do the thing, whatever, that's cool. But to me, I'm up here, eyes and ears in the ground, to see if anything crazy pops off, and just keep my eyes peeled and kind of go with the flow, because we're talking about earlier, it's kind of unpredictable what's going to happen, who you're going to see, what's going to go down. It's rare characters up here. I'm sure we're going to see some people up here during this event that you may never ever see again in your life. It just depends on the timing of things and how things unfold, what all pops off. There's going to be clashes. There's going to be protests targeting certain people. There's going to be some stuff popping off. But as far as all that, there's going to be tons of agents, checkpoints, and I want to for those that were asking, had some people emailing me asking about checkpoints up there. There's going to be several, and at this link, it's called "How to Attend the Inauguration." They got a list here of where all the checkpoints are going to be, and they got a map and the parade route and all that stuff. But and some information there if you're planning on getting in there. And if you're planning on getting in there, once again, you better plan early. Some of those spots are opening up just to get in, to be able to see the parade route. Some of those pocketed areas that they're going to close off, they open at 6:30 a.m. So, that's pretty much where it sits as far as that. But here's another big thing as far as this whole thing. The general of the D.C. National Guard is being removed from command during the inauguration at 12:01. Now, with the changing of the guard, with Obama leaving and all this stuff, things are to be expected. But to me, this at 12:01, the man that just pushed off the troops for the day, doesn't even get to see them come home, is weird. And I hope it doesn't set some kind of security excuse breach up crap, is what I'm hoping don't happen out of this, because the timing is super weird to me. If the man's going to go through the trouble of riding the beast with Obama, and all this other, it's just really weird. And I wanted to make note of it. And it is what it is at this point of what happens. And of course, he's going to be replaced by a pick. And what's unique about this is in D.C., unlike the rest of the states, the president is the one that gets to pick this man. So the D.C. general of the National Guard, the president calls that shot. It's different in the states. So for whatever reason, he's gone immediately at 12:01. And I haven't seen a name yet of who is going to be taking over. But we all know Mad Dog Mattis is stepping up. And once again, love him, hate him. I suggest that people don't, with anyone out there, don't just go with the whims of the mainstream media and what you're hearing there. Research these people, look into their records, look into their past, look what they're all about. This is a man that stated, have a plan to kill everybody you meet. I mean, this is why they call him Mad Dog. But he's done things out there. People could say good or bad.
You ever hear somebody else say that before?
Everybody's going to have an opinion of stuff out here. But my thing with this was him saying that Russia, China, and ISIS are now our target. And this is the biggest problem I have with all this is the fact, like I said before, that Trump just told the world the Obama administration created and is behind ISIS, this whole thing. What do you do about that? Is he going to put them in jail the next 4 years? Then that means they're going to exist. If not, if they don't cut the funding or stop it right there. I mean, that's huge. Bombshell. The fact he said that should be plastered everywhere and it should piss people off. If you're a veteran out there, anyone that's fought for this country, anyone that went to Iraq or Afghanistan and you were fighting against ISIS, he just told you that your leader is controlling the other side. It should fucking piss you off so bad. It does me. And it does because I'm human. And you're being played. And right there in the wide open, they just told you, we're running heads on heads and we're slaughtering them. Does anybody give a shit? They just told you they created the boogeyman. Now, you're going to let your son or daughter sign up for this military and go fight some war for them? Are you? You stay right here. You sit right here and defend this soil is what you do. And it's in my opinion, you won't see a change in Washington, D.C. until there's a true righteous wave of people that awakens. The rest is smoke and mirrors.
You know, when I was at that Joe Biden thing, he said it right to that crowd, not once, not twice, but 3 times in a 45-minute speech. He said that Obama and their crew was responsible for the ISIS. And then he said why. He explained why, because they're Sunnis and the Sunnis are on their side. I mean, he explained it. These people clapped, dude. They clapped, man. He said it to a whole room full of people. I'm standing right there.
And it's just like him calling out Soros and saying he robbed our working class. There's factual things that are being put out here, but then it takes me back to the other side of the coin. This is a man that just pushed his whole entire campaign on Hillary for prison. Mm-hmm. Are they going to go to prison? You've got to see. He just admitted to you that they're playing both sides of the battlefield. Both sides of the battlefield. And they've been doing this forever. I've been trying to tell you this over and over again, all the way back to the Rothschilds, funding both wars. J.P. Morgan, all them gathered on Jekyll Island. They had the money run that caused the whole Great Depression, the whole 9. They cut deals with Hitler to get as many Jews as they could into their state they were forming of Israel, the whole 9. And what's interesting here, and I'm gonna cut off into a different avenue away from current events here, because we've talked enough here as I wind this down here about this current event stuff. Mad Dog talks about this world stage, and he talks about these enemies. Okay, well, let's look at where we've been going to war at, and what we've done there. Like we've just talked about, Iraq, Libya, shambles, Afghanistan, everything going on. I find it peculiar that Adolf Hitler, of all people, that they funded, that they were cutting deals with, had a quest for ancient technology. And this is where everything changes. And if you can't handle it, then maybe the rest of this video is not for you. And for those that can't handle the truth, I don't know what to tell you. I put on the front of my YouTube channel, if you don't want the truth, don't subscribe. This place is not for you. Okay? I ask you to just be open-minded because I try to leave all the cards on the table here. When I try to see the bigger picture and understand what's happening here, this world power, the structure, what's truly happening, I'm going to tell you what I've come to find out. And I know a lot of people have been waiting on a big video for me and Casey. We've tried multiple times with issues that I can't explain. All I can say is we're going to try again. But, you know, when it's there, it's there. And I just let it roll off my chest when it's there. And to me, this whole war thing is a world stage. That's why they call them theaters of war. This whole thing is scripted. They are playing it out, and it doesn't mean they will not kill people. It does not mean they do not sacrifice and drop bodies. It does not mean they will not pull off rituals like 9/11 and kill people. Okay, they do. They work all this magic. I just told you, they run both sides of the war. They're running the whole freaking operation. So how can this be? Why are they doing this? Well, they're doing this to control the people. So who are they worshiping? That's the big thing. Because that is what's got their heart. That's what drives them to do what they do, to screw you and me over every day. It's what they believe in. And I'm here to tell you that they worship the fallen ones. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again and again and again until you get it. It's me. Until you get it, you're not awake. You can go over, talk about all this other stuff, but when you want to get down to the root of what they're really doing, the occult magic, the stuff people want to turn a cheek to. Oh, it's time for me to shut this one off and go get some coffee. Can't take it. Well, I'm sorry. If you really want the truth, then you'll listen. Because if they're worshiping the fallen ones, then they're doing it together. And the rest of this is a game on all of us. They've sold all of us out. They are puppets themselves, pulling the strings, selling all of us out. And if there's one of them that don't agree, they kill him in the streets like they did Gaddafi. So what are they doing? I think they're going to Iraq. They're going to Libya and all these ancient places for technology. I think they're doing it for exactly what Hitler was after. I find it funny. The two most heavily guarded places by every military on this planet is our two poles. They want you to think we're on the verge of World War III here on the surface, but yet we're with Russia and China and everyone else at both poles and going to space, where it really counts for them. So what is so secret down there in the South Pole in Antarctica, where John Kerry went, Buzz Aldrin went and had to get flown out? What's going on down there? Well, they didn't make it no secret that the Nazis claimed that their new Fourth Reich base was there. They claimed the turf. Now, why would Hitler and them go through all this trouble? Why would he travel to Tibet to talk to the monks and all this other stuff? You've all heard the stories of him, of the conquest of an Aryan race and all this stuff. How is it that our allied forces get their tails whipped by disc-shaped craft with swastikas in Antarctica? And then through Operation Paperclip, after the whole war ends, Hitler didn't die in no damn bunker. That's why they're showing you this stuff on the History Channel now, hunting Hitler and all this stuff. They're dropping you the jewels a little bit. That's why there's Nazi bases down in the Argentine jungles and everything else, okay? Because it didn't unfold the way that it did. You see, we took all the Nazi scientists, knowledge, technology, UFO tech, whatever you want to call it, we took it through Operation Paperclip, and we grew together, you see? And that's the same bloodline and regime Baby Bush and all these fools are from. Prescott Bush was engineered heavily in this. And it's about this conquest for ancient technology. Iraq is ancient Mesopotamia. It is where Babylon is, the Tower of Babel stood, that Nimrod built. It's where they found Gilgamesh, if you've been paying attention, and then his body disappeared on an air naval cargo ship or something into the darkness. It's crap. To me, they're doing the same thing that Hitler was after, just larger scale. That's why they've gone into ancient Libya. That's why they've gone into ancient Iraq. This is why they want into ancient Syria, because the biggest cut stone on the planet is protruding out of the ground there in Baalbek. And what more is there? Can only imagine. This is a place where the longest dwelled city by civilization on the planet exists, Damascus. And this is also a very unique area in a sense, and I guarantee most people out here don't realize this, and this is a game changer for me. Right on the border of Syria and Turkey, in southern Turkey, is an ancient site called Gobekli Tepe. Now, Gobekli Tepe is unique because it is the oldest temple on the planet. And what is very interesting about this is it outdates the pyramids by 7,000 years. And no one wants to talk about it. And it's hard to get the information. There is a crew excavating and it's been working on it for some time. But being in a war-torn zone, it makes it even that much harder. Okay, so what have they discovered? They've discovered that this was a massive place that was built with design and all this other stuff. And I want you to keep in mind here, this was done at a time before we even discovered the wheel, before we learned how to do clay pottery, is what they're telling us, before we domesticated pack animals, before the farming revolution ever began. And it rewrites everything, because they said that how history goes, man had to be farming first. They had to stop and farm to be able to build big cities, because if not, they had to constantly travel, going with the flow of the seasons, following the food. You see? But instead, things changed here. They were able to build this, and they had knowledge somehow, which no one can explain. This is the oldest temple on the planet, mind you, that no one ever wants to talk about. Game changer here. With carvings done so good, they look like they were just done recently, within the past decades or so, hundreds of years. A lot of extreme detail in them. They're aligned astronomically. They bring up the same questions as with the Mayans and everyone else. How did they have this knowledge? Where did they go? What did they do? All this other stuff. Okay, and this is a time before, well, let's just put it this way. They were still hunter-gatherers, and that was what was the big kicker. They were still hunting and gathering, but now they were building cities, and they built a temple, and this changes the game. And I find it very, very peculiar, once again, that this ancient place sits right there on the cusp of this war-torn zone. And right down the road is one of the most ancient cities ever in Damascus. And right down the road is the biggest cut block the world's ever seen, protruding up out of the ground, that they couldn't do today or move. You've got to wonder what is there. And to me, that is the conquest. They're out there looking for all this stuff. And that's it to me. That's what it's all about. The rest is a game. It's a charade. It's control of the people. They are worshiping the fallen ones. When you ask me, who are the fallen ones? The fallen ones are the fallen ones. The same one out of your Bible that Michael cast out of heaven. Okay, if you don't believe the Bible, you ain't in none of that, go read some other scriptures, because I tell you, me and Casey have been talking here recently and looking into different writings, ancient writings, and it takes having the time to go in and study these and read into them. And over time, what you'll see is there's a correlation between these stories. And we've been seeing some very strange correlations here between the ancient writings and what's really going on and what they're worshiping. Now, to me, it's these fallen ones that they're worshiping. What's also interesting is they chose to keep out of your Bible the Testament of Solomon, the same Solomon's temple there that's central in Israel to how many religions? It is the cornerstone of all of it right there. Solomon was a master wizard. And Solomon was given a ring. The same Michael that casted these entities out of the heavens and down here to earth and locked them here. The same Michael. This is where everything starts to get very interesting. The same Michael, from a whole different script of scripture and everything, shows up in Solomon's temple. He is the one that gives him a ring to control these entities. The same Michael. He shows back up again there. So without this ring, Solomon had none of the power. None of it. And what could he do with it? He could communicate with the 72 angels and demons of the Goetia. And he actually used them to build the temple. And that is the truth. And it's what they cut out of the Bible, of many things. But it happened. And he called forth all of them. And when he did, he called forth Beelzebub, which said that he was the last of his kind here in this domain. He was the king leader of all of them. And instead of using these demon or jinn to go fight war for his own benefit. He didn't. He had to use them for the good to build the house of God. To the Lord God Sabaoth that he was calling upon. And the archangel Michael is the one that delivered this ring. And without it, he lost the ability to control the jinn or the spirit. And it's very interesting because, and this is the Solomon that all the Solomonic lineage and all this crap is based off of, for you to understand this. Okay. He calls forth one individual, one spirit. And it's very interesting because this is before the time of Jesus, Yeshua. He asked, what is the spirit that bothers him or controls him? And he states, the son of Mary. Way before he enters the picture. Let's go over to the Muslim writings. And we were talking about this earlier. They talk about an antichrist figure called the Dajjal. Right? The Dajjal. This Dajjal will not be allowed to enter the city of Mecca. If you go to Google Earth, you will see they have built a palace for this individual on the hillsides of Mecca, overlooking it, because he will not be allowed to enter. It's there. They built it. They're waiting for him. It also states that when he enters this facility, he will go to war on like one of the next ridges. And when he does, this one-eyed Dajjal will be destroyed, not by Muhammad, but by the son of Mary. That is out of their own writing. And no one wants to talk about it. So how is it the most evil SOB that they're all expecting, even them, is going to show up outside of Mecca when he gets destroyed? It ain't Muhammad that does it. It's the son of Mary. That's game changer. Because to me, there's an evil entity here. The one I just explained to you, they cast it out, him and his minions. That's who they're worshiping. They're fake Jews. They're fake Christians. They're fake Muslims. Get it? When you come to me and you ask me, oh, who you for Trump? You against Trump? Can't you see? This is bigger than all that. This is a world stage. They are worshiping the beast. Literally. Right before your very eyes. The rest is a charade. If you come to my channel, this is what you come for. The truth. I'm not going to sit here and play patty cake with you. Okay? This is it. But no one else wants to talk about it. None of these other big channels dare go down this path. Too scared. By them. Don't you get it? They've sold you all out. They know it. What do you think the Masons, all these cats know all these secrets behind all this stuff? They're keeping it from the people. They're pulling the strings while worshiping these fallen entities. Look at the entity that Aleister Crowley channeled. He only could channel one. It was a little creepy looking thing called Lem. Aleister Crowley also ripped a hole up at Lake Erie and let this entity into this planet. He could not seal it. And this is where Baby Bush and this whole lineage of the Bushes all comes from. A la the big 9/11 sacrifice they pulled off. In honor of Crowley. And everything is in their sacrifice period to this one that they worship.
And by the way, Bush Jr. was born 1946 on the day that they finalized the steel contract for the World Trade Center, the very day that George Bush Jr. was born. So he's been a part of this since the beginning.
Yeah, it's all been sitting there scripted, and they're playing it out. And it's on us to get a beat and get ahead and a jump on this and to expose this and to let people see it for what it is. It's simple. They're worshiping these fallen ones behind the scenes. They're faking everything else. That's what's happening. It's who gives them their power. And all these cats in power, they feel like, well, the next guy is going to just jump up and he's going to be the billionaire. He's going to have the mansion or the keys and he's going to have the power and control. I'll do it. They sell out. And because there's not people outside of the senators' buildings anywhere across the globe holding them accountable, they kick their feet up on Sundays by the fireplace and sip champagne while y'all was still working your ass off to get 60 hours a week, right? Then you get taxed on your money, and then you get double taxed again when you turn around and buy stuff. When's all that going to change? When's real change going to come about? See, that's the thing with me here. If Once this new administration gets into play here, this day and time where we're at right now, this ticket, if big things don't start to happen, Mr. $1 billion man's going to have to put his money where his mouth is. And I think those of you that voted for him should agree. Anyone should agree. Anyone that's going to make any big statement to make change, you should back it up. And I think the biggest one is Hillary for president. How are you going to sit there and tell us there's a criminal cartel individual that's crooked and doing all these things? Just let him walk. What kind of example is that? Jerry, are you serious? That's what I'm asking myself. I know people are saying, give him to the 20th, give him to 20th. I'm going to give you 4 years from the 20th. And she won't be behind bars unless the people do it. We, the people. Look, I'm trying everything I got to find new ways to reach people. We're so heavily censored, even through music or whatnot. And this new beat you've been hearing me mess with in this song, I've got an anthem I'm going to put out there, hopefully before death me. That's whether you love hip hop music or rap or not, it's not even my. I don't listen to hip hop rap all the time. I listen. Have you seen me in my live streams? I'm on oldies, listening to oldies. I mean, it's just something when I hear a beat and a rhythm, it has to be the right one. Something happens and a story starts to come out of me, and it's like it has to happen, and I have to dedicate my time to make that happen, to get that message out of there. And I feel like this one is going to be big, the biggest one ever, and it's just a message for the people, one that I can leave behind and let them know that the power, and it's simple, the power is in the people. Power's in the people. There is no other equal. And when you come together, there's no way they can beat you. Period. Simple hook. It's the truth. And put together the right way, if felt by enough people, my hope is, hopefully, it sparks the seed. Machiavelli did it for me. Dead or alive. Machiavelli showed me Illuminati on his album cover. 1990, whatever it was. It changed me because I studied and I found out who the Illuminati was. And when I figured that out, it's been on ever since. So I can only hope that my information one day, if it still exists out there, at some point sparks a seed that takes this information, possess it like jewels, and do damage. You go to fucking war. You go to fucking war against this beast, and you don't stop. And they can kill me for saying it. Because before I punch out, I'm doing everything I can to bring change. And if it brings the death, I ain't going to harm no one. I'm not telling you to you don't have to harm no one. Your power is in your numbers. You show up swole in the city, they can't touch you. The police have no, to your family and friends, they have no choice but to join you. The only reason you became a cop anyway was to protect them. Do it. Protect your country. You now know who's running the game, controlling both sides, controlling ISIS and everything. Are you really going to go sign up for that military to go fight the boogeyman that they created? Wake up. Awaken. Try to give it to you as raw and real as I can. I hope you appreciate it. We all do. We all put it out there every day. The whole crew here. We do what we do to grind. None of us are perfect. We don't agree on everything. That's another lesson for people out there. You're not going to see eye to eye on everything. You got to learn to grow, bring in ideas. Can't just get pissed off about small shit and say to hell with people. You got to learn to grow, take in other ideas, leave the cards on the table, learn to discern information and keep growing. And love is key. It truly is. There's a reason, in my opinion, why Yeshua spoke on this so heavily, because it's the truth. It breaks everything. And I feel like this is a testing ground here on earth. And to me, this entity that's here could never leave here unless he finds true love. It's that simple. Because to me, it's the one thing this entity lacks. He doesn't possess it. He wants to be a God Almighty, but he can't because he's been devilish. This entity, these entities, these fallen ones. I'm telling you, there's a deception coming. And me and Casey were talking about it earlier. It's going to come whether in my lifetime or not. It's going to come. It's going to be the card they play here. It's why Reagan said it so many times in his speeches. What if something otherworldly was to happen? I wonder what we the people in all the nations would do. Well, it probably would happen just like it was prophesized, I think, Edgar Casey, that all of the troops around the globe would drop their guns. If they look up in the sky and they see motherships, whether Project Bluebeam or what, and their bullets ain't doing a damn thing to it, they're going to do exactly as he prophesied, drop their guns, and they're running home. Then what the hell do you think this planet's going to do? You're going to see a leader on the stage say, we have to come together as humans. Forget the differences in religion to fight another race of something that's here to destroy us. But you see, I think in my heart, they're preparing the world to go to war with God Almighty. And it'd be the greatest deception they've ever done. Who else is going to take the stage with this false peace? You already know it. This one. And we were saying it, or where's he at? Which one? Everybody always wants to point the finger. Where's he at? Who's the Antichrist? Which one's this one? It's Obama. It's this person. It's Trump. It's Putin. It's this and that. This one is going to do some things. When things happen, and like I said, I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. And it's going to be the deception that they're going to play on the world. You better be prepared for it. You better not fall for it. You better not fall for it. We warned you. We warned you. It is the fallen ones. They are here. They've been here. They worship them. It's who gives them their technology. It's who gives them their power that they wield over mankind when they sell you out. Any of them had any heart and any true soul, they would get out here at the right time and they'd tell the world the truth, even if they got a bullet through the head halfway through the speech. That's righteous. So, man, I can't help but think I want to get out there and go to Gobekli Tepe, all these ancient sites. I want to see it. I want to know the truth. But guess what? If me and you go there, we'll get thrown in prison if we dig up anything and don't give it to the Smithsonian. The same Smithsonian that surrounds the National Mall up there, DC. Can you imagine how many artifacts are sitting up there? Can you guys? How much stuff is in there? You see Indiana Jones?
What's in the basement, bro? What's in the basement of that?
Dude, man.
That's like a whole city underground there.
Oh, man. It takes me back to Indiana Jones and that the crystal skull and all that. It's crazy, you know, the stuff that I know that they've got hidden from man. But I do promise you guys, as about to shut it down here for the night, I want to thank everybody that hung in there strong tonight. I see you. I love you guys. For real. It's what it's about. It's key to getting up out of here is love. I swear to you. I ain't trying to be all mushy, but I swear to you, it's about love. Loving everything. Seeing the spirit and life in everything. And we are all connected. They don't want you to know that, but we are. We come from the same stardust, same elements. Okay, but it's the control. And I can't help but think in Roddy Piper, they see, he keeps bringing me back to it. Every time he was seeing these people with the glasses, he was seeing them. But when he took them off, they looked normal. And this is what I'm telling you. At the end, he crushed a crystal. He crushed a crystal that was giving off a frequency that kept these individuals cloaked. And it almost felt like it was a hint or a warning on what to look for. Things hidden in plain sight, guys. You guys got any closing comments here? I know I've been going on and on, but like I said, when it comes off my chest, I just got to let it go. You guys got anything you want to say before we shut it down here tonight?
I got nothing, man. Tomorrow night we'll be doing our show, and we'll be gearing up for inauguration. I know you got my link in the box for everybody, so if you're all looking, want another backup channel for streams, click it. I know Eric's in there, Casey's is in there.
Chris Norman said Dabu is a Satanist in the chat. Is that what? How? You see what the trolls? You see what the trolls do? This is for everybody that watches the video afterwards. You see everything I just told you in this video and talking about love and light, and someone wants to come along and say that's the direct, immediate attack that they will launch, and expect it. Don't buckle. Fuck them. Smoke them. Bring it to the streets. You made shit, son, and you know it. Come out of mom's basement. Bring your ass on out. And for those of you, show up. And for those of you that want to fight the good fight, hey, any day now. Anyone that wants to step up to the plate, start swinging, all it takes is shared information. I promise you, it's all it really takes. If you simply want to play a part, share the information. If there's any big battle that we've got out here, it's getting the info out. So, I notice when people retweet, I notice when people are sharing stuff, that I can see out there that, and it's appreciated. I see who's doing it, and it's appreciated more than you know. That's fighting fight to me. And that's the only way we're going to get out there far and wide, and much love and respect to those that give us props for what we do and don't steal what we say and run with it and cut our name out. Yeah. I still got some knives hanging out of my back. I probably always will, bleeding from all the backstabbing. And what can be done, but you got to keep on trucking, chin up. That's the way it is. Shout out to the mods out there. I see Unified Truth there. Anthony, Glory, JB, Violet, Azip, Paisley, Seth, Lisa, Jack, Chris. I see you wrote me back. You got props, Dabu, for being talking about he's worshiping Satan now. Wow. Are you? Well, I pray for everyone out there that's stuck in darkness. I truly do. I pray that it can be broken, and that an angel of light, love, and peace and righteousness can set you free, protect you at least, and get them off your fucking back. Head up. No one's perfect. No one. So don't act like you are neither. Okay? You live and learn. I'm going to shut it down. You guys want to say anything before I run the music? Sign it off for the night?
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, I'll be live Sunday, probably Sunday morning. Anybody wants to come on my channel, so check out enterthestars.com.
You still there, Casey?
Yeah, I'm here. Did you guys hear me?
Yeah, enterthestars.com. Yeah, guys, make sure you check him out there. Of course, the channels, I got links in the description box.
Right on. And I'll be live too on Sunday.
Yeah, you got that. What time on Sunday?
Probably at 10 a.m. Eastern.
All right.
Yeah.
Eric, any info?
I'll have the Truth Lounge on Sunday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. And yeah.
All right, and D, you gonna finish up something there, B?
Yeah, you know what? I've been tossing this around all week, but tonight, listening to you talking and stuff and going over things, I think tomorrow afternoon I'm gonna sit down for like 3 straight hours, maybe even longer, and I'm gonna do a 2016 recap on a live stream and just point out, everything that you had mentioned at the end. We're all connected by Stardust, and it's like everything's been mapped. And I truly believe that mostly everything's mapped. But when I met you in Philly, a lot of things happened. We went to Philly. We went through all kinds of crap went on that day. Worked out good. We left. The phenomenon of thunder snow happened. And I got lost on the highway, and where did I wind up? I winded up at that house, that old James River Tavern or whatever, where they signed the Bill of Rights that was half torn down.
That was crazy.
You guys saw thunder
I fell
snow?
asleep on the. We saw thunder snow.
Oh, it got worse than that.
Tell me.
He was pulling off on the side of the road. I actually passed him on the highway, and he ended up having to pull off and I kept on trucking, and the bands were coming in crazy, and the sunset in the sky was so wicked beautiful. He got off at the spot. I had a chance to watch it that day. It was just one of those phenomenal events that you catch ever so rarely, and Yeah, we both witnessed that. It was crazy.
Right. And it built a whole year of just, I feel we've accomplished a lot, as a unit, all of us. And I think I'm just going to kick back and talk about it, just go all the way from the start and just roll through 2016 and the rapid changes and everything that was supposed to happen and everything that caught us off guard, wacky witches that we ran into all over the place in the early part of the year. I think we had a major part in taking away a lot of their power.
Yeah, and that's what it's about. We're going to continue that mission, guys. That's for sure. We got a big one coming up this week. I want to thank always 800 strong, man. It's hanging in here till the end. It's going to love you guys out there fighting the fight. All you can do is try your best. Make sure to tune in to Underground World News Live from wherever it may be this coming Friday. And before then, I'll be live plenty. Like I said, we're going to be live from the streets. Make sure you're bookmarked and subscribe to all of our channels, man, because really everyone's going to be in a unique position on this day to cover things. And everyone's going to have something different, to offer. And that's if we can maintain live streams. Keep in mind, if we cannot keep them held down, we will definitely be stopping where we can and doing what we can to get information out as quickly as possible. But yeah, looks like that's it. That's a wrap for this January, Friday the 13th, 2017. Wow. We got some interesting times ahead. So going to shut it down, guys. I thank you guys for joining. I'm going to leave you here with some more of that anthem beat, a little taste of it. And we'll see you on the flip side. You got to love that squeaky control arm, huh? And this has been Dabu 7 with some Underground World News. Shoutouts to Mr. Machiavelli, DJ King Assassin, because the power's in the people and politics we address. The power of the people, there ain't no other equal. And when we come together, there ain't no way to beat you. The power of the people, there ain't no other equal. And when we come together, there ain't no way to beat you. The power of the people, there ain't no other equal. And when we come together, there ain't no way to beat you. The power of the people, there ain't no other equal. And when we come together, there ain't no way to beat you. Let's talk about the secrets of keeping from mankind. Illuminati interbreeding through the bloodline. Demonic deception of people at the same time. Erasing history, keeping you in a slave mind. And if you expose it, they say you out your damn mind. That it's a conspiracy, really, that's the damn lie. We're coming for the pharaoh, up in his palace, sipping his chalice. He's worshiping Osiris, his phallus. The power of the people, there ain't no other equal. And when we come together, there ain't no way to beat you. The power of the people, there ain't no other equal. And when we come together, there ain't no way to beat you. The power of the people, there ain't no other equal. And when we come together, there ain't no way to beat you. The power of the people, there ain't no other equal. And when we come together, there ain't no way to beat you. Yes, Dabu Southern and that underground crew. And when we come together, there ain't a way to beat you. Woo! There ain't a way to beat you. There ain't a way to beat you.